What's going on, guys? Noobs here. Well, I realize I just predicted that we would never see an N64 Classic Edition, and I stand by that prediction, but I'm here to hedge my bets a bit and also come at you with a theoretical lineup of games that I predict we'll see on an N64 Mini. So recently there was some trademark news. Somebody unearthed a trademark for an N64 controller logo that would theoretically go on an N64 Classic Edition box. Now everybody's getting excited. You know, these things, companies file these things all the time just to protect themselves or just for the sake of having these things. So it doesn't mean much, but you know how the internet works. People are getting excited. So just my rules for the predictions. I'm going to go with the Super Nintendo style 20 games plus one. I figure maybe they were overly generous with the NES games, plus those games just are a lot lighter content-wise, right? So I think 20 is a good number, and I think they can easily get there as well. So let's have a look. But of course, the biggest question mark of all is what to do with Rare's games. The N64 was very much defined for a lot of people by the games that Rare put out on the system, which of course is now owned by Microsoft. Well, I don't think Nintendo would even bother with this thing unless they worked something out to get a few of these games. Now, Nintendo already has the rights to Donkey Kong 64, so that's one Rare game that we'll see for sure, I think. I'll throw Diddy Kong Racing in there just because, you know what, it's not something Microsoft can do anything with. They've shown willingness in the past to do Diddy Kong Racing on DS, for example, so I think Nintendo could work out a deal for that one pretty easily. And then I think Nintendo wouldn't even bother with this unless they could work out the rights somehow to Goldeneye. So I think those are the three Rare-made games that we'll see on the system. I know Goldeneye is a big stretch, but you know what? I mean, there's willingness for these parties to work together, for example, on Minecraft, on Switch, so I think we could see it happen. I don't think we'll see any other games. I don't think Nintendo would have reason to sort of promote franchises that they don't own anymore, like Perfect Dark or Banjo-Kazooie, so I'm thinking just these three. And then the more obvious internal stuff, of course, Mario 64, one of the best games ever made, an absolute game changer in the industry. Of course, that'll be on there. Both Zelda games I'm going to predict we'll see on there, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. You can hardly have one without the other, right? They just go together. You got to have both. And then as far as Mario spin-offs, which the N64 had so many of these, didn't it? This is like the peak of Mario spin-offs. Of course, we'll see Paper Mario. I mean, they don't have many RPGs to choose from, so they got to throw that on there. Mario Kart 64 is obvious. Mario Party 2, yeah, I know. I wish it would be the original, but they're not going to deal with that thing with the problems with the palms and the wrecking the joystick. As far as other Mario sports games, I'm going to go with Mario Tennis. That is my personal favorite. I just hope that's the one that shows up. Birthplace of Waluigi. And then it's not quite a Mario spin-off, but Super Smash Bros. Has got to be there. It's the one that started it all. Other kind of top-level or mid-tier Nintendo franchises, of course we'll see Star Fox 64. That is the best Star Fox, after all. F-Zero X, a great F-Zero game. Hey, maybe they'll throw in the 64 DD content as a little extra hook. How good would that be? And then, of course, one of my favorites, Wave Race 64. There were a few other Nintendo sports franchises. I'm going to go with Wave Race 64 to kind of rep that section of the lineup. And then, I mean, who could forget all of the Pokemon spin-off games that came out on the N64? One of my personal favorite games on the whole system, plus the best spin-off, of course, Pokemon Snap. That's got to show up. And I'm going to throw out there as well Pokemon Puzzle League, just because I figure you want to get a puzzle game on there. Plus, it's Pokemon. Pretty good game as well. Plus, you know, weird Tetris rights make those kind of games harder to get. So let's go with Pokemon Puzzle League. Then obvious Nintendo mascot games, Kirby 64 and Yoshi's Story. Those have just got to show up. Despite my generally negative feelings towards Yoshi's Story. And then to wrap this lineup up, I'm going to say Mischief Makers, Ogre Battle 64, and Sin and Punishment. Why these three? Because, well, two of them are made by Treasure. The other one is now owned by Square Enix. These are parties that Nintendo works with all the time that could easily go to them. It's not like some of these Western third parties that either don't exist or they have no relation with anymore. These guys will easily talk to Nintendo. And I kind of see Sin and Punishment, at least in the West, as being kind of the +1 of the bunch if we're going with the Super Nintendo style lineup of 20 games plus a bonus game. Sin and Punishment was only on Virtual Console before, so why not make it sort of like a, hey, look at this game you've never seen before, even though we have if you were paying attention. Alright guys, let me know what you think. What games would you like to see on an N64 Classic Edition? Did I pretty much cover it all here, or are there other gems that you would like to see unearthed? I realize there are plenty of other games that people might want to see, but maybe are just really unlikely to show up. And you know what? If you can't think of any, I've got a whole list called the Definitive 50 N64 games. You can click on that. I'll throw that at the end of this video. You could check out the whole playlist. Maybe that'll remind you of some more classic N64 games. Let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching.